Man, relationships can be so frustrating. And right now, today, we're going to talk about how they can create obstacles in your life, but how you can overcome them. And I'm really excited to share this with you. We've been doing a series on obstacles, how you may not even see them, how they get in your life, and we've been looking at them more and looking at some obstacle busters. And I just really want to talk to you today more. I have another post in this series, but more about the obstacle of relationships. And here's the thing. Relationships are not actually the obstacle. It's our reaction to them. Ooh, they get us tied in knots. Or, oh man, they affect how we spend our time, and we might have no bandwidth left. So let's talk about the obstacle of relationships. And I wanted to do a longer video because I really want to talk about this. I really want to, I want us to tackle this and talk about it in depth. And I want to connect with you more, and that's going to be really cool. So here the thing is, okay, relationships. Here's the thing about relationships and why they can create such an obstacle, because we can feel so stuck. And man, it's like, we can't change that person. And a lot of times we probably can't get them out of our life. And so we think, oh man, I'm stuck. But you do have options. That is the good news. You do have options. And there are 4 options that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the first one, which I think is really where you need to start. And that's with your own heart, because there are things you can change on the inside. Let's think about this for just a minute. Here is what Jesus said. It's one of the most powerful, magical verses, especially as it comes to these relationship issues. And that is to do to others as you would have them do to you. And you know what that means? That means you think about how would I want to be treated in this situation? And the first thing you do when you're having a relationship problem is you try to put yourself in their shoes. And this week I was getting really upset with somebody, or maybe just, a lot of turmoil inside that I could not seem to shake off. And I finally did this. I put myself, and I really envisioned myself going through this and kind of put my own spin on it, what it would look like for me to go through this. And as I did that in detail, I was amazed, because all of a sudden, I'm like, I understand. I might do the same thing. I understand why they did what they did. And it was magical. So do that. And then apply this, and this kind of extend this into some other spiritual principles, like forgiveness. Jesus, we know the Lord's Prayer says to, forgive me my sins as I forgive those who sin against me. And so, yes, we know we want to be forgiven. So we, in the same way, want to forgive others. So, man, wouldn't that be huge? Wouldn't that be a huge burden off of your heart, your shoulders, if you can work on forgiving? And you can. There's a lot. And then accept. There's something about us that it's hard to accept that others are just different. We can't help but sometimes think they need to be like us. But it is very clear that God made people to be different. And we just need to say, you know what? They're on a journey. They're coming from a different place. They've got different things going on. They've got a different makeup. And I'm taking a deep breath. I just need to accept them. And yes, they have weaknesses. Well, so do I. So accept one another. And then have patience with one another, as you would want someone to have patience with you. And have compassion. And, there again, that's involved in putting yourself in their shoes. So those are really good qualities that really, really will help your heart. But let's think a little more, because there's some other hacks. There's some other principles that will really, really help. One is to think about humility. Humility is so powerful. We should do it more. And humility, what does humility look like here in a relationship? You say, I might be wrong. Even when you're almost sure you're right, and the older we get, the more I see this. Yes, I might be wrong. And you know what? My thinking, I'm so sure my thinking is right, but I might not have the best thinking. I might not know better than they do. So many times I find that out to be true. So be humble, work on your humility, work on, not being a people pleaser. Now, let me say this. We're all people pleasers. It's just kind of the way we're wired because we're social creatures. We want people to like us. We want people to approve of us. We want people to think well of us. And so we can spend a lot of time, energy in mental space trying, we're trying to get other people to approve, or trying to get people to like us, or trying to fit in. And so the hack for this is wake up in the morning and just say, I'm only going to seek to please God today. I am only going to try to think about what will make him happy, what will make him smile. And you're going to forget. I do, and I'm working on this right now, but it's been so helpful. But through the day, I think back and I think, I want to make God smile. I want to make him happy. I want to just try to please him. And it's like clarity. It helps me so much. And it also helps my heart to not be tied up in ways it doesn't need to be tied up. And, along with this, learn to set boundaries. Now, there are great books. There are great professionals who do a much better job than I'm going to do right now. But, really learn about this. Learn and think about what is your responsibility and what is someone else's responsibility. Because a lot of times we are taking on something that really isn't our responsibility. Now, let me be really clear about this. Yes, we are to be loving, giving, kind, serving, sacrificial even. But we are not to do something that someone else really needs to do for themselves so they can be their best self, so they can grow, so they can overcome their obstacles. And so we want to, even though it makes us feel great, we love the movie, we don't want to go around fixing things for people or taking on something that they really need to take on themselves. And one of the biggest things about this is not taking on making them happy. This is not our responsibility. Just like right now, even though people bother us, we're working on making ourselves happy in our own heart. It is other people's responsibility, it's their responsibility to be happy, to figure that out, to their own well-being. Not to say we don't want to give to them and do things that will, in a sense, make them happy, but that is not our responsibility. So that's something really important to think about as we go along. So, there's so much more that I could say as far as, relationships and what we can do and to help us in our heart. But just in knowing that these are some things that we can work on, that we can help our own heart, and that we will feel better when we do. I hope you'll join me for the others in this series. I am really excited to share that with you as well, and that will include things that you can actually do to improve your relationship, and it will include it will include ways you can bring other people in and get them involved, and then it will also include sometimes you may need to limit your exposure to that person. All of this is something I'd really love to help you with more. If you would like to set a free appointment with me, set one. Because a lot of times you can get so much clarity in talking to someone. And, you know what? So this video, I had one more important point that I almost forgot. And that is that something that will really help your heart is to process. When you just got all those knots, all those thoughts worrying and everything, do something that will help you process those emotions. Sometimes for me, I just take a long walk and I'm able to think through them. Journaling is excellent. And, or pray, pour your heart out to God and maybe be quiet and listen to him. And then, like I was saying, enlist the help. That's another thing you can do. Enlist the help of a professional. It could be a therapist. It can be a coach who will help you find clarity. So those are some things. So in ending, here's the last thing. If nothing else, this is something you can do that helps in all situations, but it will definitely help in your relationship issues. And that's to trust. Take a deep breath. Trust God. He's good. And he's not making mistakes, even though you're like, why is this person in my life? Believe in his goodness, and along with that, believe that there is good in that person. There usually is. I look forward to more of this series, and as I close out, I am sending love to all of you. I believe in you, And I know that you can overcome your obstacles to become more of all that you are.